Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play ChäoS Child. In the last episode, Takuru tuned in to yet another evening broadcast of Shibuya News, and was more than a little taken back to discover that the topic of that particular footage was, well, none other than the video posted by himself along with the other members of the newspaper club. The video concerning the mystery of the Sumo Stickers being posted all around Shibuya, and implying that they have a connection to the recent string of murders that have happened recently in Shibuya. Of course, there is absolutely no way that Takuru could know that the person referring to themselves as K is in fact a young scientist by the name of none other than a young scientist named Mio Kunosato. At least I'm remembering her name this time. Who is actually using Shibuya News as a means of drawing out vital information on behalf of Momose over at Frisia Investigations, which is actually quite handy of an investigation tool. But there is a bit of a drawback to that, in that it once again puts Takuru, back in the spotlight, I suppose. Back in the sights of Detective Takeshi Shinjo and the Shibuya police force, unfortunately. But for the time being, I guess Takuru and friends can relax right about now. And thus begins another boring day at Hekio Academy. Ito whispered as he turned the camera around the room, and I wholeheartedly agreed. You might be thinking or wishing otherwise when you realize what is in store. But by then it will be too late. We were in our classroom after school. The Culture Festival was just 3 days away, and from this afternoon until the day of the event, classes were cancelled to allow for more time for the preparations. The rest of the class must have been getting excited, because they were making even more noise than usual as they started moving around desks and furniture. It much looks like they were all just loitering around it as usual. Since this marked the start of real preparations for the Culture Festival, the newspaper club needed to go around and take more footage of the rest of the school. You've been on our feed all afternoon. Looks like haven't been able to catch a break, have we? I didn't have time for this right now. True that.
うっとうしいな。だな。
Ito whispered as he saw the group glancing at us from the corner of the classroom. And, it's given that Takuru's, I keep mixing up Takuru and Takeshi, which is Shinjo, obviously. I'm getting confused now.
マジ？必死すぎじゃん。
Looks like they could very well be gossiping about Takuru.
つーか何？ニコニヤにアップなんかしてんの？あいつら。
That's not
パ
good.
クるとかどんだけだよ。
パクリじゃない。
I think I can see where this is going. They think we are the ones who are copying off from Shibuya News. Damn those wrong-siders. Didn't they look at the timestamp?
てか、みんな思った以上にニコニヤ見てんだな。
You wouldn't think that they do, given how much they pretty much disparage on it, but
うちのクラスの出し物、ゲロカエルン喫茶だろ。
and I had completely forgotten about that. I wish I did.
ああ、
Even more bad moods.
ゲロカエルンの再ブームの火付けになった動画、例の記者の渡部が特集したのがきっかけなんだよ。
Something tells me we're not gonna like that guy when we run into him. So a lot of them knew who Watabe was. That's the journalist who's always poking his nose in where he doesn't belong. Completely different from Takuru. Completely different.
それでかよ。
Ito sighed again. He was probably getting sick of the glances and whispers he'd been getting since lunchtime. So was I. Gear's right, because on the one hand, while it is nice to see Kurusu here again, not so happy to see you, good sir, I'm afraid. In fact, wishing you weren't here.
宮代。なんですか?
The look on Kawahara's face said, I've better things to do than waste time with you right now. Ah, nobles.
文化祭の記録映像、どのくらい進んでる?
Nowhere, I think. Phew, so that's all he wanted to talk about.
ですね。その
Yeah, pretty much, we're behind schedule. Very much so. How was I supposed to answer that? We were just recording videos, so there really was no point when it was finished. And please stop looking at me like that.
なんだよ。どのくらいだ? いや、その
And there's Takuru's condition playing up again.
順調に撮ってるよ。どうかしたのか?
And Shinji to the rescue, it seems.
文化祭の閉会式の時、バックに流したらいい演出になるんじゃないかっていう案が出た。できそうか?
Is that all? Ito put his hand on my shoulder.
大丈夫だよな。
Now that is a poker face if ever I saw one.
おお、多分
Yeah, probably going to have to owe him for this favor, Takuru.
だと。
じゃあ、細かい打ち合わせは明日するから。
And that is a face that says he could care less, and couldn't care less, for that matter. Huh?
ちょっと待ってください。
Hate to break it to you, Takuru, but Ito just offered you an out, and now you're going to squander that out. I found myself speaking to Kawahara as he turned to leave. I don't have time for...
なんだ?
Yeah, definitely a bad move on your part there, Takuru. Talking to somebody you don't know and don't care about.
なんでもないです。
Kawahara looked irritated that I'd stopped him.
行こう、クルス。クルス?
Yeah. Something tells me that Kurusu has a lot she wants to talk to Takuru about. But not here. Kurusu seemed to be thinking about something. It wasn't clear if she'd heard him or not. And suddenly she looked at me.
タクル、
なんだよ。
I think she's come to a decision. Or maybe not. In any case, speaking publicly here in a classroom full of these people, not the best venue for this, I'm afraid. I'm afraid it will have to wait. For once, Kurusu seemed uncertain about what to say. Come to think of it, this was the first time I'd talked to her since the incident with Arimura. Yeah, interestingly, those parting words, Takuru, you weren't the only one to hear them. Kurusu did as well.
ちょっと来て。She dragged me out to the corner of an empty hallway. I shook her hand off my arm. Given how high school environments are, this could be entirely misconstrued as something else.
何？どうしたんだよ。
Kurusu cradled the hand I'd shaken off protectively. For some reason, she didn't say this question, which is kind of odd.
あれからって、生徒会室で会ってからってこと？
Yeah, pretty much, Takuru. She nodded.
会ってないよ。
That wasn't a lie. Yeah, given the fact that you were observing her in the cafe. I hadn't spoken to her directly after all.
そう。
What?
有村さんがどうかしたのか？
Definitely an interesting question from you of all people, Takuru. Kurusu remained silent, her lips pressed into a thin line. And then...
事件の動画、アップしたでしょ。すぐに削除しなさい。
And there's the Takuru that we're familiar with from several episodes ago. Although that is what I would like to have said if it weren't for the expression on your face and the cold light in your eyes. Had you been checking our page? Well, she is the vice president of the newspaper club as well as the student council president, so obviously.
事件を追うのもやめなさい。ラブホテルの一件で懲りたでしょ。
I think it's a bit too late for that, Kurusu. Also, you're not telling him what's really on your mind. If you did, you might be able to help Takuru.
確かに警察には連れて行かれたけど、別に。
取り返しのつかないことになる可能性だってあるの。
Yeah, Hanai Arimura said something along those lines, but she seemed to be implying that was a given.
Huh?
Yeah.
There was something different about the way she talked. Her whole personality was different than usual. It wasn't as forceful. She was lecturing me, but instead of looking me in the eyes, she was cradling her arm. It was as if she was speaking to herself, not to me. For the first time since I'd left the orphanage, I thought I might be able to win an argument with her. Not quite.
危ないことはしてない。新しくアップした動画だって普通の取材の範囲だったろ。
I think Kurusu would disagree with you there, and I think she will. Or maybe not.
今あの動画はいろいろあって注目されてる。僕はそれに書き込むことしかできない他の連中とは違う。
またそんなことを。子供じゃないんだから。
部室に行く。教室に戻るんなら伊藤に先に行ってるって伝えておいて。
Well. Seems like we're at an impasse. Yet again. I turned around without waiting for her answer. When I'd gotten a good distance away, she said,
Takuru, あなたも他の人と違わない。ただの高校生でしょ。
Her voice wasn't as strong as usual, but there was no trace of anything like kindness in it either. I didn't stop walking. A minute later, Ito ran up to me and we walked to the club room together. Ito asked me if something had happened, but I told him that wasn't the case. And that's not necessarily wrong. Of an answer, that is.
あ、やっと来た。二人とも遅いよ。
悪い。どうなってる？
さっきもう10万超えちゃったよ。コメントは5000超え。
Over 100,000 views, eh? Well, a person can dream, can't they? Oh. Yeah, never mind. Huh?
マジで?
Yeah. Which begs the question, just who exactly is watching that video? And also 5,000 comments. Ito raced over to the PC that Serika was looking at.
マジじゃねえか。おい、見えしろ。
落ち着けよ。10万くらいどうってことないじゃないか。
100,000 is probably big for a high school newspaper club, Takuru. Yeah. I don't think I will ever see that view count on my videos in my life.
震えてんじゃねえか。
Some people even get 100,000 views in an hour. That is completely, absolutely ridiculous. Like, who does that? Shut up. Yeah.
本当だ。超えてる。
Yeah. It's very faint there, but there are 106,491 views and 5,275 comments there. Yesterday, the video only had 5 views and now it had over 100,000. Actually, it was getting close to 110,000.
マジでか。
And of course, if you broke that amount of subscribers, you would definitely be doing well for yourselves. The cause was obvious. Is it? It was the Nico Nia news video that had been updated this morning. I would actually hazard a guess that a certain somebody is helping you behind the scenes.
渡部の記事のコメントは
さっき見た感じじゃ炎上してる雰囲気だったけど。
There are a lot of people that don't like Watabe, and for good reason. Serika opened the page.
やっぱり今もだね。
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. He says that some of the stickers have something in common, but he probably doesn't understand what that commonality is. One out of every 3 or 4 comments on the article was criticizing it. I took a quick look at them.
気取り屋がほとんどだな。ツイートと連動してるから、ろくに中身を確かめずに書き込んでる連中が湧いてるのか。
Yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing that happens on the internet. Anyway, fakers. A word invented by Miyashiro. It refers to someone who brags about knowing information easily available with a simple internet search. Who writes comments with inaccurate information and pretends to be a right-sider. In Miyashiro's mind, their words are no different than meaningless scribblings, and he considers all fakers to be wrong-siders. It was this morning when we realized that something was going on with the view count on the video we uploaded. Yeah, there is definitely something fishy going on. After Shibuya News had linked to it, the views had gone up to almost 10,000 overnight. That in itself was a big deal. It was getting views faster than any video in the club's history. Thanks in no small part to K. But this was to be expected. K had a lot of followers. After the broadcast ended around midnight, Ito, Serika and I had gotten excited and quickly got in touch with our smartphones. We'd stayed up until close to dawn watching the number go up. But just before noon, it had really started to climb. Just as we decided to see where these new views were coming from, we noticed a comment on the video saying, "I came from Watabe's article." This was the article they were referring to, this one right here. Nico Nia's web reporter Watabe had figured out that the Sumo stickers were being placed near the crime scenes, though his statement about commonality is a lie. And he had a never-before-seen photo of the room at the Love Hotel from the Revolving Dead incident. And in that photo,
僕の方が先に気づいていたのに。
yeah. Yes, indeed, it was Takuru who found it first. Watabe had realized the photo contained a sumo sticker and that the other crime scenes had sumo stickers nearby as well. He'd written up his findings in an article and published it. And as a result, people would come over to our video that discussed the same topic.
10万って新記録だろ。副部長の渋谷復興動画の5万が今までの最高記録だもんな。
Yeah, we broke a new record. Congratulations. Yeah. That's true, but...
素直にこの記事のインパクトってわけじゃないだろう。どっちかっていうと、渡部がパクったって騒いでる奴らが多いってだけで。
Well, in all fairness, he did.
So
バカ、それでも10万は10万だろ。しかもこの短時間にコメントだってめちゃめちゃ来てんだぞ。
まあそうだけどさ。
well, might as well let Ito bask in the glory for a little bit longer. Still, it was hard for me to be happy. The reason we were getting so many views and comments was that the content of Watabe's article was so similar to ours. That's because he's a plagiarist. Not many viewers seem to think that we were amateurs who just happened to put something together similar to Nico ni your news. A lot of people were enjoying the scandal of Watabe, the up-and-coming reporter, plagiarizing an amateur video. It was true we uploaded our video before Watabe, that was obvious from the timestamps. Also, Takuru was more dedicated to actual reporting than Watabe is. Well, some of our classmates seemed to think that we'd ripped off Watabe though, for some reason. But they're not
きり
important.
炎上マーケティングみたいだ。
Internet flame wars. I usually try to stay away from those. A marketing strategy that involves starting a flame war to increase sales or awareness of a product. A flame war is a large-scale internet argument that can become extremely heated.
この渡部の記事がだよ。渡部が本当に記事をパクったかどうかはわからないけど。
いや、それはないだろう。素人のやつをパクった炎上を利用するってネットの記者とはいえありえないだろう。
You underestimate how far Watabe will go for fame and fortune. Or maybe.
それに炎上なんかで騒ぎを集めなくても渡部は十分知名度あるだろう。スクープ連発してんだから。しかも俺らの動画アップしたの一昨日だろ。再生数もほとんどなかったし、渋谷ニュースで再生数伸びたって言っても今朝の話だ。
Yeah. That's tying into what Mio was saying about media manipulation.
この記事なんて明らかにそこから用意したものじゃねえだろ。
That's true too, but something still bothered me. There were several conditions that had to be met for a flame war to really take off. Two of the biggest were that a famous person had to be the target and that the mainstream media had to get involved. Time for more tips. A derogatory term for major media organizations like TV, newspapers, and radio. The word itself existed before the advent of the internet, but in Japan it is mostly used as a form of net slang. Its use is often rooted in the belief that all forms of media beside the internet are in bed with corporations, political parties, or special interests, and refuse to broadcast the truth. Just having our video picked up by Shibuya News was a first for us. What were the odds that the perfect fodder for an epic flame war would get posted here at the exact same time?
考えたって仕方ないだろう。
Ito said as he watched me mumble to myself. Perhaps not, but there is still a few issues with this.
せっかくなんだ、見てくれた人のコメントから情報を漁ろうぜ。ほら、力士シールのこと書き込んでくれてるやつもいる。
Yeah, they're talking about them, but do they actually have anything that's worth reading? Anything pertinent? Because if not...
おい、宮代、 チャンスなんだろ。
Ito seemed unable to contain his excitement. Actually,
やけに元気だなお前。
は？そうか？
very enthusiastic, I would say.
しんちゃんが前に作った動画100いかなかったもんね。
Yeah, I can understand the sentiment there. Ito's face suddenly went red.
別にそれは関係ねえよ。
Was that why? It's still nagging at the back of your mind, isn't it? As it
見
should.
るなよ。ほら、文化祭の映像撮んのに時間取られたんだから、とっととやるぞ。和樹。
And it's that time again.
Hmm?
You know what? Since, you know what? We're gonna go positive this time. Since, we tried a negative delusion before, but, it didn't quite go the way I planned. Or anticipated, sorry. Kazuki looked up from her game. She'd been totally ignoring all of this, as usual.
渡部の記事の画像、適当にプリントアウトしてくれ。
We should probably, on a subject-changing note, start focusing on about the possibility of a fourth crime occurring a few days from now. But oh well. Ito took them and stood in front of the board. He started to put them up. His face was still red. He glared at the images as he looked for a spot to put them.
ほら、早く動画を確認しろよ。
Bit over-enthusiastic about this, methinks. Well, whatever. If he thinks he's fooling me with that, I'll let him think that. The trigger has begun. I still felt sick.
サムネイルは飛ばしてくれ。
Yeah, that, the Sumo Stickers are still having an adverse effect on Takuru.
オッケー、私もやだもん。
She skipped past the image of the sumo sticker and started to scroll through just the comments. There were a lot of different types of comments. Some were claiming that Watabe had ripped us off. Some of them were saying all kinds of horrible things about us. Very few of them were discussing the actual video. These weren't the comments I was interested in.
Oh, メール来た。
We have mail.
メール？
That was the sound the PC made when it got an incoming email. The email address it used was for the newspaper club. Ito and I had a joint account we used to upload videos onto Nico Niya, and the email address was written on our profile page. Normal users never bother to check out a profile page, so we almost never got any email. Serika and I opened the email program on the computer. There was a single new email.
メールより動画だろ。
このタイミングだし、タレコミ情報かもしれない。
Definitely worth checking it out.
タレコミって何の？
そりゃだから、 動画に関連した何かの。
Or maybe more than that. Ito seemed unsatisfied, but it would only take a minute to check out the email. I asked Serika to open it.
これって。
なんだよ。
What could it be?
読むね。こんにちは。渋谷ニューズの管理人 K です。
An email from K.
K?
K had gotten in touch with us. Yes, now I'm excited. You might not be so excited when you finally learn the truth about her.
あなたの作成した動画、とても興味深くて、昨日の私の番組で取り上げさせてもらいました。よければ連絡先を交換しませんか？素晴らしい発見をしたあなたとぜひお近づきになりたいの。今度直接会ってお話をさせてください。
Get to know me better. Meet me in person. I gulped. Kay had recognized our work. There could be no greater honor.
本物なのか。
ケイさんを語って連絡してくる意味がない。
That is true. There is, yeah, some people might pretend to be K in order to gain infamy and fame, but they'd be found out. And the address matched the one used by Shibuya News.
まだ続きあるよ。私の自撮り画像を添付します。あなたの写真を返信してくれると嬉しいです。
自撮り画像？
Now that's dubious. Kay had never put a picture of her face up on Shibuya News. Her broadcast was always voice only. Of course, I'd heard her voice, but I'd never seen her face. In my mind, I pictured her as a highly intelligent girl. Which is ironic considering how close to the mark you actually are on that. And she sent a picture of her face.
ウイルスが仕込まれてるんじゃ。
There is always that possibility that it's spam. Why was Ito so suspicious of everything? You should probably be suspicious as well. Kay wanted to get in touch with us. Would it kill you to be a little more excited?
ケイさんはそんなことしないだろ。
I would believe in Kay. I wanted to believe. I think your hopes will be dashed on that front.
お前、渋谷ニュースの信者だもんな。好きにしろ。
Unfortunately, Ito has a point.
信者じゃないけど、ファンなのは確かだ。尾上、添付ファイルを開いてみてくれ。
Let's see what it is.
OK。
This was my chance to see Kay. I couldn't wait. I felt like I was meeting my future bride. Serika moved the mouse and opened the attached file. And what appeared was
ロいな。
No. No, no, no.
ケイさんはそんな軽薄な人間じゃないし。
Of course not.
おい、宮代。何ブツブツ言ってるんだ？ちゃんと見てるのか？
Not really.
え？
Ito and Serika were looking at each of the comments on the video. Serika flipped past any points where the sumo sticker appeared and just scrolled through the comments. Let's see what's really here. Oops. Now wasn't the time to be getting weird ideas.
渡部パクってんじゃねえよ。こっちの方が本当に早いの。マスゴミ被害者はこちらです。
Yeah, same old, same old. Flame war trolls.
そこら辺の議論はどうでもいいな。シールで検索かけてくれ。
オッケー。
Time to look for the real pertinent information.
ろくな情報がないな。
Unfortunate. One guy was calling it the Fatso sticker, another was saying Sumo sticker is my waifu. Oh dear. For the love of Mike. Serika must have been getting annoyed with it too, because she started to use her free hand to play with her Gero Froggy strap. But a moment later, her hand froze.
あ、これは？
Let's have a look.
力士シールの作者なんて KLX だろ。超着オツ。ね。
You're the wrong side, a moron. Sure, there was a theory on the internet that an artist named Kalex was behind the stickers, but no one had ever found any proof. They probably just read the title or the first few lines of an article somewhere that said that Kalex was the artist who created the stickers, and never given it any more thought.
このアドレスは？
There was an URL among the comments that was pasted with no explanation whatsoever.
飛んでみる？
ちょっと待ってくれ。
I took a look at the letters in the address.
単にアマブロのアドレスだよな。
I wasn't sure, but it didn't look like a very dangerous page. And of course, hopefully there'll be safeguards in place to tell us if such is the case.
オッケー。
That's this page. Sumo Sticker Hunter. We've seen this, but well, Takuru hasn't seen this before. A moment later, I was staring at a page with an ugly, garish background. I looked away from the sumo sticker that was its hit counter.
なんだここ。
Serika clicked through the links on the page.
力士シールを特集してるページみたいだね。
That it is. Photos all across town. It must have been a lot of work to get all these. Was this from before the earthquake? Maybe. This one's dated 2014 though. Serika must have still been bothered by the stickers, because before she said anything she scrolled down to the text-only part of the page.
このシールの目は滅びを予見し、これを未然に防ぐためのもの。 2015年の人類滅亡の予言は被害はあったものの、これによって守られた。
2015年の人類滅亡の予言。エジプト歴の人類滅亡説か。
I only knew about the Mayan one, and that was in 2011, or supposedly. Egyptian apocalypse, the theory that humanity would be wiped out on September 23rd, 2015. That has pretty much been put to bed. The theory was proposed by an Egyptologist who stated that the Temple of Isis, an important ancient Egyptian holy site, contained 1,465 gods, and that an ancient legend stated that if this temple is sealed every autumn equinox, every one of the gods within will lose their power. When the last god loses its power, the world shall be drowned in water. The temple was sealed in 5050 AD, which meant that on the last fall equinox of 2015, this date here, the last god would lose its power and the world would be drowned.
よく知ってるね。
Yeah. Hehehe. Well, Takuru knew something that I didn't, so points to you.
常識だよ。
I read further down the page and saw that he considered the crash of 15 to be part of the prophecy, and said that the stickers had saved humanity.
色使いといい、ちょっと来てるな、ここの管理人は。
Yeah. Who, by the way, loves yellow text? This yellow text is very, very distinctive, isn't it?
そういえば渋谷ってクラッシュの時あまり大きな騒ぎにならなかったよね。歴史シールって太陽嵐を軽減する効果でもあるのかな。
It would be fantastic if they did, but I doubt that. Idiot, why would you believe that?
渋谷の被害が少なかったのは単に復興計画で街が整備されていたおかげだよ。これは単なる結界説。
結界説？
How could she forget that? Oh, to be fair, I've never heard of it myself. But then I don't live in Shibuya either, so... A long time ago we spent a lot of time looking into this.
相撲の発祥が神事であったことから、相撲を行う力士をモデルとした力士シールに宗教的な意味を持たせて、あちこちに貼ることによって結界を築いているんだっていう説だよ。
If only wrestling worked that way.
宗教的な意味って？
That you don't know. Crap, I didn't know. Aha! Ooh, painful.
とにかく、結界説はナンセンスなんだ。力士シールって呼ばれてるけど、力士をモデルにしたっていう証拠はないんだから。
Interesting you say that, because that is exactly what the person that wrote this page said.
ふーん。
Good save there, by the way. Good, I guess I fooled her.
タク、これは？
なんだ？知ってるぞ。
Maybe you do and maybe you don't.
知ってるの？作者。
え？
This, Serika said as she pointed to... a page about the creator of the Sumo Stickers, ChäoS.
いや、勘違いだ。進めてくれ。
オッケー。
Kinda let yourself down there. That background was using the nastiest colors I'd ever seen. My eyes were starting to hurt. What's this?
巷で言われているように、歴史シールの作者は K-REX ではない。
Between this and the sheer number of Sumo Sticker photos, it was clear that the page's author was a little crazy but had done their homework. I know who. In fact, I've made contact with them.
このシールの作者は結界を築くために人類の犠牲になったんだ。
No, maybe more than a little crazy. They were totally nuts. I hadn't read a page like this in a while.
その犠牲となった尊敬すべき作者は
I stopped scrolling down the page.
これ
Her voice was shaking a little as she pointed at the screen.
AH 総合病院にその身を置いている。
Now, there is a name that I thought I would never hear again. AH General Hospital. Please tell me that we don't have to visit there again. Something tells me that we're going to have to. I knew what she was trying to say. I could see Serika's shock out of the corner of my eye, but I couldn't take my eyes off the words AH Tokyo General Hospital. Yeah, I know all about that place. We've been there. Once before. Back in ChäoS Head. Bad memories, those. Very bad memories. That was the hospital. That was the hospital I'd snuck into with Serika in elementary school. The one I saw in my dreams all the time.
おい宮代
What is it, Shinji?
宮代って
Seems like Takuru's blanking out. What? Oh, it's just... It's just Hana. Just Kazuki. Kazuki stuck her face in front of the display from the side and pointed toward Ito.
なんだよ。
やべえぞこれ
Ito was staring at the board as he whispered. Then he walked straight up to it.
やっぱりおいこれ見てみろって
What has he seen? He pointed toward the pictures that were stuck up on the board.
どうしたんだよ。
I tried to hide my shock at what I'd just seen, but my voice was quivering. But Ito was completely ignoring me. He ripped off a few of the pictures. And stuck them back up. The huge number of Sumo Stickers, and then the long distance shots of the ones found at the crime scenes.
ここ見てみろ
I could tell that Ito and Serika turned to look at me when I laughed. I thought back to the conversation that I just had with Kurusu. Something terrible might happen. I would keep going anyway. I would probably keep going all the way. Because I wasn't just an ordinary teenage boy. October 7th, 2015. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Tomigaya, Shibuya. Aoba Clinic. A 2-minute walk from Yoyogi Park Station. This private clinic, 20 minutes away from the heart of Shibuya, was loved by the locals for its homey, comfortable atmosphere. The clinic offered internal and pediatric medical services. It is nice and cozy of a place, isn't it? It had no facilities to allow someone to stay overnight. Not that kind of clinic. The wait was 10 minutes at worst. Some days, it was more common to find the director's drinking buddies there telling baldy jokes than it was to find patients. The only full-time doctor was the clinic's director. He had 2 nurses. The only times it ever got busy were during flu shot season and when the director's neighborhood baseball team had its annual tournament.
おかしいな。ここにねえってことは。
Could this be the clinic director? Possibly. In all likelihood. The clinic's 2nd floor. This floor with its living room, kitchen and bath, and the 3rd floor with its rooms for the children formed this localized small-scale children's welfare facility named Aoba Dormitory. There was no sign identifying it outside, so if you just walked by the building, you'd have no way of knowing that the upper floors were an orphanage.
ズキズキきやがる。
Could this be the orphanage where Takuru and Kurusu and Serika came from?
ここにもね。おい、ノノ!
I think it is.
もうちょっとだから。
Yeah, it's Kurusu, alright.
ちげえよ。薬がどこ行ったかって。
Wataru Sakuma, the director of the Oba Clinic and dormitory, looked at the dinner lined up on the table and froze. Boiled vegetables, white fish with plum, tofu hamburg steak, I think that's supposed to be hamburger, natto, rolled omelette with shiso leaves. The oldest girl at the dorm had been in charge of cooking ever since she came here when she was in 6th grade. Every year she started cooking more and more like an old woman. I mean, Kurusu still lives here? I guess she does. But why?
お前な、おばあちゃんじゃねえんだから、肉とかよ。
腹回りの贅肉を減らしてから言ってちょうだい。嫌ですからね、老後に高血圧治療の面倒見るの。
Well said.
食べ盛りもいるってのね。 ああ、しょ。
Yeah, you weren't gonna get away with that excuse. Sakuma pressed his hands up against his temples and rubbed them.
どうしたの？
ロキないか、見当たらねえんだよ。
I have no idea what loxoprofen is.
何？
Nor do I
頭
wish
痛？
to.
ああ、
確か。ってちょっと待って。もしかして二日酔い？
Sakuma moaned a little. Kurusu smiled gently at him, still holding the kitchen knife. You know, vitamin B would definitely help you with hangovers there.
父さん、そもそも課長で医者であるあなたが病院の仕事手伝ってるとはいえ、見習い看護師以下で娘である私に薬の場所を聞くのも問題ですけど。
And there's Kurusu's classic tsundere expression there. But, another interesting twist is that,
よりによって二日酔いですって？昨日の夜、残った事務仕事を私が片付けてる時に晩酌してたの？
いや、仕事は俺だってしてたぞ。
yeah. So, Wataru has adopted Kurusu, it seems, is what I was trying
じ
to
ゃ
say.
あ、仕事中に飲んでたってことね。そんな酔っ払いに出せる薬はありません。あと、1週間禁酒にしますから。
Ouch.
はあ、おい、ノノ、冗談だろ。
できた。2人とも呼んできて。ごちそうさま。おいしかった。ごちそうさま。
Some of the other orphans
はい、お粗末様。
enjoying Kurusu's cooking, which is probably quite decent.
お茶入れるね。ゆう、手伝って。
Her little brother nodded, and together they took the plates the four of them had been eating onto the kitchen. It was their job to clean up. Yui and Yuto Tachibana were brother and sister. They were the only two siblings at the Aoba dorm who were actually related by blood, and the rest of the neighborhood thought it was cute how they were always together. The Shibuya earthquake had occurred when Yui was in second grade, and Yuto was only 6 and hadn't started school. After the earthquake, the two of them had come to Aoba dorm. The two of them had been depressed for a long time between the shock of losing their parents and their experiences in the earthquake's aftermath. Now they made it to the second year of middle school for Yui and the last year of elementary school for Yuto.
ノノ、明日の夕飯は先に食べてていいぞ。
During the meal, Sakuma had complained about Nono's ban on his drinking, but Yui had told them he'd brought it on himself. He'd spent the rest of the dinner muttering to himself, but by now he had calmed down a little. Just a
最
little.
近バタついてるからよ。
嫌です。温め直すのめんどくさいもの。それにバラバラに食事するのって好きじゃないの。できるだけ家族揃って食べたい。
うん。
でもバタついてるってどうしたの？
Kurisu checked the clock as she spoke. It was almost 9. The Oba clinic closed at 6:30 p.m. and it was often after 7 p.m. by the time Sakuma finished his paperwork and came up the stairs. Kurisu would have dinner ready around that time. But it was true that lately he'd been coming up later and later. Sakuma shrugged and said he wasn't exactly sure why exactly, but
大学の後輩が渋谷でやってる医院もそうだし、ここらのでっけえ病院、代々木の AH 東京総合病院とかよ。最近忙しいらしいんだよ。
so the hospitals have been unusually busy.
の
Yeah, I saw Kurisu's reaction to that last one.
あ、ごめん。それで？
Yeah, Kurisu has bad memories about the general hospital as well.
ま、復興祭が近いから浮かれて怪我するやつが増えてるんじゃねえかとか、それに合わせて例の症候群をもう一度見直す動きがあるとか、いろいろ言われてんだけどよ。
Chaos child, rearing its head yet
見
again.
直すって6年経って今さら？
わかりやすく復興して治ってんのは街の外観だ。ここはそう簡単に治らねえからな。
You know, you're actually right about that. Would that you weren't. Sakuma patted himself on the chest.
うちの患者は別に普段と変わらねえんだけどよ。その後輩やら知り合いやらからなんだかんだと頼まれるのが多くなってんだよ。おかげで肩こって仕方ねえ。
Looks like you are actually working yourself to the bone. And not just doing it for the booze. As her father rotated his shoulders to stretch them, Nano told him he was doing a good job. He normally looked like a goofball, but Kurisu knew that he was reliable when it counted. Aoba Clinic was far enough from Shibuya that it hadn't been damaged during the quake, and so it had remained open. And I'm actually going to cut this little family reunion between Kurisu and her father off here. So when we return, we shall, well, hopefully learn what it is that Shinji, Takuru, and Serika have found in the new discovery of the recent New Generation madness. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.